Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. I've got an exciting blend for you guys today, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Right now my apartment is smelling nice and smoky, not because there's a fire, but because of tonight's blend that I'm going to taste for you guys. It's something that I haven't really done in a while, and I've never done this kind before. So I'm going to talk to you guys about aged oolong. Now, I've done milk oolong, I've done jade oolong. Hey, Snea, welcome. I've done all different kinds, Chinese, Taiwanese, all kinds of oolongs. And honestly, this one is kind of unique in its own heart because it's aged. Now, it's this one, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I read that it was a Chinese oolong, but they produced it in a Taiwanese way. So what they did was they oxidized it and they rolled it up into little balls or little pellets. I'll show you guys right here. It's a nice big chunk. And it doesn't really show in the camera the kind of detail that goes into it, but there's a very specific way you roll them. Hey Ma, welcome. So the way that it works is you take the processed tea leaves, and in the oxidation process, there's a way, like some people do it by hand, other people do it by machine, but the way that it's supposed to be done, traditionally, is they take the leaves while it's heated, and they roll it. Oops, hit the wrong. I got two in here. I don't want it to break. So what they do is they roll it. You know, I'm going to do it without it. They roll it and then press just to bruise the leaf a little bit. Roll it and then press, and then roll it and press, and then they put it back on the fire to stop the oxidation process, or to rather stop it. Because when you bruise the leaf, it kind of breaks open the little capillaries inside the leaf, and it lets out like the juices and exposes the insides to oxygen. So it starts to oxidize. But when you heat the leaf, it starts to seal up the juices inside. So that heating process stops the oxidation. So what's interesting about these oolongs is the fact that they're rolled and then purposefully broken to oxidize and then heated back up again to stop the oxidation. And it essentially leaves layer upon layer upon layer of flavor until you get this, what you see here, this big old pellet. So that being what it is, it locks in the flavor within the leaf, and when you steep it, the leaf begins to unfurl little by little. Now I have an unfurled leaf, and there's something very interesting about this. This didn't even open up all the way. Now you see, I steeped this at 212 degrees for 5 minutes, and as you can see, it has barely opened up. This is maybe just twice the size. A normal oolong would open up fully, so you would see the entire leaf as is. But that's more of an eventual kind of response, because you would have to steep it over and over again, and the more times you steep it, the more the leaf opens up, and the flavor changes every single time. So, with this aged oolong, now when we're talking about an aged tea, it's usually aged for either, if we're talking like pu'ers, generally they don't start calling it pu'er until it's been aged for about 5 to 15 years. Then once you reach that 15-year point, you get like an ancient kind of oolong flavor to it. It's super nice. the pu'er, the ancient pu'er, not ancient oolong. But when you talk about an oolong, it has to be about at least 1 year. So this could have been stored. Oh, excuse me. If it's traditional, it's in a cave. If it's modern, in a warehouse, they put it away and they keep it away from any light, any moisture, all the air. They keep it completely sealed off and let it ripen. So then you get a nice black leaf like we have here. Normally oolongs are not that dark, but you can see this has been oxidized quite a bit. And now we get a nice brown, golden, coppery liqueur. Look at how it just like shines on my face. I love that. Now you can see how it's a little bit reflective. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but like you can see just on this side, my fingers, but the reflection is on this side, so you're not going to see much of it. That's my stage light. So you're not going to see much of the clarity behind it, but it's not perfectly clear, not in the least. I can see like there's a little bit of murkiness to it. It's really, really dark, and the smell itself is just really bold and smoky, just how I like it. Oh, okay. Ooh, that smells like a how do I put this? It smells like really. Like, it smells like a lot of wood, a lot of earth, with notes of moss. You know, it's got like a slight vegetation to it. Oh, that is so nice. Okay, I'm going to go for it because, you know, I've already spoken about it for like 9 minutes. I'm going to go for the first slurp. Oh, that is so smooth. Ooh, that is nice. It's really savory, and there's a certain kind of flavor. What was it? How come it has vegetation since it's so oxidized? Because it's not fully oxidized. It's still within the 30 to 60 range of an oolong. It's just aged longer. So when you go to the 60% to 80% of a black tea, that's where it kind of loses the vegetation, but you still regain that really strong earthiness. This has a good amount of earthiness to it. It's not your normal oolong, but it still maintains some of those characteristics, that light, creamy vegetation that you're usually used to for say a milk oolong or a jade oolong. That tea looks like an amber stone. Oh yeah, exactly. It's got that nice golden color to it, and I love it. But the oxidation itself, I mean, it still has all of the characteristics of an oolong, but with an overall darker, smokier blend to it. And honestly, this is going to take a few steeps to open up the leaf fully. And let me tell you, I'm going to drink a few of these cups today because the leaves are just really, really nice. They're super smoky. They're really smooth. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I'm like fighting the urge to keep drinking because I'm talking so much. Oh, that's interesting. There's notes of like cocoa in there. Very, very slight, but it's there. And it hits me in the back of the throat. Kind of like a dark chocolate. Now this is the kind of tea that a lot of people might want to put cream and sugar in. if it's their tastes. Hey, Teresa, welcome. If it's their tastes, but in my opinion, that would be a sin because there's the natural characteristics of it that would be taken away if you sweeten it. A lot of people like to put cream and sugar in black teas. And I mean, I understand why. It's tradition. It's all to taste. You want to lighten up the flavor. This one has a very refined flavor to it. There's a lot of little nuances in there that you'll have to search a little bit for to find. Like I mentioned before, there's still that vegetation. There's still that creaminess that the oolongs usually have. It's still in there, but because the flavor is so bold, it's harder to find. So you'll want to take a minute to like sip and think and look and search your palate for it. And it's best to aerate your palate as you drink it so that it cools the tea and helps you taste it a little bit better. This thing is still super hot, but we'll see. Ooh, that tasted extra chocolatey. Wow. Now, I have to confess, I've had this before because this was part of my certification. But I had to brew it to their standards, not mine. So it came out a little bit different. This has some really strong chocolate notes to it. And it's kind of surprising because I missed it the first time. I'm gotta have some more. It tastes like hot chocolate without the milk. So it's like a dark hot chocolate. I'm really surprised. Yeah, it did not come out this good last time. I'm actually considering buying a whole pack, a whole new pack now. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. And there's like, on the tail end of it, there's a slight bit of bitterness, not astringency. Astringency is more of an acidic bitterness. This one is more along the lines of the bitterness of a dark chocolate. And there's a kind of cigarette smoke. Hey, Juliet, welcome. It is awesome. I'm really enjoying this. There's a little tinge of cigarette smoke in the back end. That it's not like the full on I've been smoking and then you just get that whole kind of cough. It's really just that little bit hitting the back of your throat. And it's not even on the back end of the throat, more like in the back of the tongue. It's really strange, but it's right there. And I mean, I've said it before, how jade oolongs and milk oolongs, and even some alishans have that natural creaminess to it. This one is there, and I think that's contributing to the hot chocolate kind of taste to it, but it doesn't have that thick, creamy texture that usually those kinds of oolongs have. This one is, I guess, it's kind of suppressed because it's been aged and because it's really, really savory. It kind of just detracts from the texture itself. Oh yeah, very complex flavors and feels. I'm with you there. It's really this is something that unless you're experiencing it for yourself, it's really difficult to portray verbally. And I think that I'm hitting some of the some of the highlights because they're very noticeable. Like, I mean, you know what dark chocolate tastes like. You know what dark hot chocolate tastes like. If you don't know what oolong generally tastes like, then it's really hard to say. Yeah, like I don't know what the word is for that creaminess. That kind of like vegetable cream. Like that does not sound appetizing at all. But when you drink it, you just know that taste. All right, I'm gonna do the Thomas taste because this is getting kind of in depth. So I want to see if I can find something else that's hidden in there. This tastes like Cocoa Pebbles. Is it almost unctuous? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I think unctuous is a really descriptive word, and I love the way that it sounds too. Yeah, you know what? Unctuous really does kind of captivate it. Oof. Would dark chocolate go well with this tea? I mean, honestly, I probably would melt some dark chocolate in there just to give it some texture. Yeah, you put some dark chocolate shavings in there, stir it around, but make sure it's nice and hot. And that would probably really enhance the tea. Now, I mean, I'm saying this purely as an experiment, but I still stand by my previous statement where putting milk and cream in anything to sweeten it up would be a sin, because it's like I'm thoroughly enjoying the way that it just sits on my palate, and it's a really long burn. Like the entire time I'm talking, and I still taste it, and I have a feeling I'm going to be tasting this for quite some time. And I can't get over the fact that it tastes so much like the more I drink it, the more it cools, it tastes more and more like chocolate. It's tasting literally like the milk you drink from Cocoa Pebbles. And you know, like I haven't had Cocoa Pebbles in years, but this is bringing back memories of that. You know, like you finish off the Cocoa Pebbles and you take the big bowl of milk and just drink it all down. That's what this is reminding me of. And you know, like the Cocoa Pebbles is a lot sweeter and a lot creamier than this, but there is that kind of like correlation between the two that I'm really appreciating. Oh wow! I think that now, because my tongue is completely coated in the flavor, all I'm getting is chocolate. All I'm getting is those cocoa notes. And it's really interesting because it didn't start out this way. Like I said, it started out very smoky, very woody, very savory. But now that it's sitting on my tongue, all I'm getting is like smoky chocolate or dark chocolate. And it's really interesting because like I was not expecting this kind of result. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Oh, it's so good. Okay. Questions, comments, anything you want to talk about? Now is the time. I'm opening up the floor to you guys. I'm going to answer Teresa's question, as I always do. What food would I pair with this blend? It's just a bit of a difficult question because it's like, what do you pair with dark chocolate? It goes so well on its own. Just like this tea, it's really good just by itself. I would probably put some Oh, this is really difficult. What would I pair this with? Maybe something like a, because I don't want to go too heavy on this one. I don't want to say like a steak, because it would take away from the natural sweetness of it. Maybe a roasted chicken with some mashed potatoes. Get some corn in there. Yeah, I would say, traditional, just chicken, roasted chicken with maybe some rice, some corn. Nothing too heavy that would take away from the chocolatey sweetness of the end. This is turning out to be kind of, sort of a dessert tea, but not quite by definition. Because by definition, it's usually overly sweet. It's usually something that's champagne, yeah, probably. For dessert, an almond cookie, yeah, I can see that, because like the creaminess of the cookie itself would probably enhance the texture of this, which, I mean, it can certainly use. Chocolate and cream always go well together. So yeah, I would totally do an almond cookie with this. And like, I mean, like, I want to say this. I urge you to take this with a grain of salt, because it's totally contradicting what I said earlier. But milk. I would say cinnamon ice cream and cookie. Yeah, that's got about the right flavor pattern, because you got that cream, you got the sweet spice of that with the chocolate notes of, yeah, that would go really well. But I would say, like, okay, like, it would be a sin to put milk in this, but I guess it's a forgivable sin. If you have a bit of a sweet tooth, I turn the other cheek. Like, no, it's okay. It's okay. This goes so well on its own, but honestly, if you put milk in it, it would probably enhance the flavor. I'm not going to put my creamer in it. Not now, because like right now I have the the flavor for a nice savory. I had the taste for a savory blend, so I'll leave it as is. I love how this tastes as it cools. It's not a sin at all. Hong Kong milk tea is an oolong based. Maybe just not an expensive oolong. Maybe. I mean, you're probably onto something. Plus, it's now I would assume that since it's a Hong Kong milk tea, they would use Chinese oolongs versus the Taiwanese, which is more susceptible. It's generally more savory. So, putting cream in it, putting milk, that would be more. That would be more of a traditional sweet taste to it. So yeah, I could totally see that. I wouldn't do it for an aged oolong, because yeah, this is probably more expensive. I haven't seen the price, because this came as like just a kit. But by the same token, it's very. It's got that same flavor pattern that I would do it with if it wasn't so expensive. So yeah, I could totally. I mean, I guess I'm like, I'm rationalizing it a little bit, but I don't want to say that. I don't want to say not to do it, and I'm never going to say not to do it, because I mean, free country. You can do what you like, have your tea how you like it. It's fine. I personally would not do it to this. I would do it to, say, like an English breakfast. I would do it to a traditional Assam. Something that is very plentiful. Like, there was a lot, like, this is a lot more labor intensive. than a regular CTC that's usually done by machines anyway. This one is either hand rolled or machine rolled, but there was effort put into it. Oh, excuse me. And then they took their batch, sealed it up, put it away for at least a year, and they did not do all that for me to mess it up with some milk and some sugar. So whoever did this batch, I thank you, and I show my thanks by not polluting it. And it's funny, it smells kind of like cigarette smoke now. Like just a little bit. But it still tastes like chocolate. I don't know, this is turning out to be a very interesting experience. And I love the way that it feels as I swallow, and it just kind of like overwhelms the palate, and it just sits there and comforts your tongue. And even like on the back of my throat, right about here, it kind of just settles in for a little bit of a bite. It's not overpowering. It's not like a spicy bite, but it's more like what's the word I'm looking for? Like it encompasses the entire tongue when you swallow, like even underneath. I don't know, it's really, really interesting. And I know that there's no taste buds under the tongue, but I think that that's why I prefer to say it's got a bite rather than a spicy taste, because it's more of a physical sensation than anything else. I don't know, maybe that's just the temperature of the water versus the way I'm swallowing, but there's something there that kind of just sticks with you at the end. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Like, whew. And it's funny because for a long time when I first started this stream, people would watch and they would love my reaction. They would say, "Hey, get a room." And I've been trying to cut down on that kind of a thing. Because, it's not taken seriously sometimes. But honestly, in this case, it's really hard for me to not just go, "Oh, that's so good." Because it's like, it's really hitting me in a good spot. And it's nice and warm. My core is feeling very warm and very comfortable. Now, as you know, since it's got camellia sinensis in it, it's going to be caffeinated. This is not a decaf tea, but in another sense, it's kind of relaxing. Like the warmth of it is making me comfortable. And even though it's caffeinated, I'm still ready to just curl up on the couch for just a little bit, which I'm probably gonna do after the stream. But in the meantime, I'm thoroughly acknowledging that it's got this kind of sensation to it. I mean, people are just naturally comforted by the taste of chocolate, so I think that that's got a good portion of why I feel the way it feels. Oh man, this is really, really nice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks everyone for joining me tonight. This has been a wonderful experience, and I will definitely, if I can find the link, which I should be able to, I'll post it in the I'll post it on the video, and I encourage you guys, try it out for yourself. I'm probably going to buy another pack just because it's really this is really, really good. So I'll probably just get some in like a few weeks or something. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight. This has been an incredible experience. And I look forward to sharing with you again next week. Have a good one. Bye.